Hi everybody, welcome back to Sunshine Soap and Candle Company. Today I'm going to be doing a remake of my Rose Quartz cold process soap. You guys have seen me make this soap before with the blue and white design and the pink dried roses going across the top. And today I've decided to go ahead and just redesign the entire soap, but using the same recipe. So we're going to be using canola oil, castor oil, coconut oil, olive oil, palm oil, and sweet almond oil. And if you want the full recipe plus the written tutorial, head on over to my Patreon campaign and check out the recipe over there. So I wanted to go ahead and show you the embeds that I made for this soap. So I made these cute little rose quartz stones to go on top of my soap. This is what they look like close up. So all I did was take a 1 pound of low sweat melt and pour soap. I like the brand from Nurture Soap Supply. And I melted it down and I used a little bit of Party Pink mica and Pink Vibrance mica. And then I poured it into this tall and skinny silicone mold. And then once it was ready to come out, I took it out and then I cut the slab into about 3 skinnier rods. Then I cut them into little squares. And then I took my squares and I just cut off the corners until I got shapes that looked like little pieces of raw rose quartz. Then the leftover pieces I am using. So here's my little end pieces that I cut off from my little squares. So I'm going to be using this in the design as well. All right, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and add my lye and water solution into my melted down oils. And I'm soaping at room temperature. We're just going to blend this on low until we reach a very light trace. Okay, and then all I'm going to do is take this soap and I'm dividing the batch in half. Okay, so we're just split off that batch exactly into half. It's okay to eyeball this part. It doesn't have to be just perfect. So I'm going to set one of these aside. And then I'm going to take this batch and I'm actually going to pour about half of it into here. Okay. So now I've got the batch, half of the batch split into another about half. Okay, so what we're going to do is the bottom part of this soap is going to be, I'm actually going to pour a little bit back into this. There we go. The bottom part of this soap is going to be black with a white accent, and in the white accent is going to be some of these pieces. So we want the soap to be mostly black with a little white swirl. So I'm going to go ahead and pour again some of that back. Okay, I do want the bottom to be mostly a black with some white swirl. Okay, so for the black, I'm going to be using some activated charcoal. And this can get very messy, so you got to be careful. So I am just going to be using about 2 teaspoons into that half. And then I'm going to be putting in a little titanium dioxide into this portion here. Save the rest for the top. And then I'm going to be adding in half of the fragrance oil to this part of the soap. And then we'll reserve the rest for the top. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and hand mix this at first and see if I need to add any more black. Don't think so. That rose quartz smells really good. It's like a modern floral. It's got some rose notes, but also definitely some citrus notes to it. Very beautiful. Okay, I'm not going to be adding any more black to that. No more charcoal. And then to this half, I'm just going to give it a good stir. And after I blend this up, I will go ahead and add in some of those pink little bits. So we're just going to use the stick blender now to go ahead and get that white blended up. And I'm trying to achieve maybe like a medium thin trace. And this fragrance oil, I believe, has a tendency to speed up slightly, so we don't want to blend too much at all there. Okay, let's give that a second to set up, and I think I'm actually going to wait a minute before I pour in those white or those pink pieces, because I'm going to do a drop swirl, and I think if I add those pink pieces in, it could cause some acceleration. So I'm just going to wait a second. I'm going to get this where I want it, which is actually pretty good. Okay, and then I'm going to bring the mold into the frame here. And all I'm going to do, I'm going to pour in all of the black. Give that one more stir by hand. Make sure everything is all blended in. And then I'm going to pour in all of the black. I just love the way that pink and black looks together. It's one of my very favorite color combinations. Okay, so we're gonna go like that. And give that a little tap down. Just make sure it's kind of even there. And then I'm gonna add some of the pink to this white. And I'm going to give it a good stir, and then we're going to do a drop swirl right into the black. I'm hoping these little pink glycerin bits just kind of show up against the white like little pieces of rose quartz, so we'll see. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've dumped some of those pink in there, and just from high up I'm going to start doing a little drop swirl here. And then I'm going to take a chopstick, I think, and just make sure that white gets swirled in. Okay. I think I'm actually going to use a spoon. I just want to make sure I get that white kind of, there we go, that's kind of what I was going for. Just kind of swirled in through the black. Okay, So that is what this layer is going to look like. We're going to give that a minute to set up. That's what this layer is going to look like, and then I will bring you right back to show you the second half. All right, so this has set up just a little bit, and I actually decided midway I'm going to change the design on this a little bit. Just think I had an inspiration and I'm just going to go with it. So I'm spraying this down with some 91% rubbing alcohol, and then I have a little tea strainer. I'm going to go ahead and do a mica line. So all I'm going to do is add some, this is Wanderlust mica by Nurture Soap, and I'm just going to go ahead and do a little mica line on here. We're going to get that all covered before we put the other layer on. Okay, so I'm just dusting this layer. You can actually overdo it and put too much mica, and then your soap won't stick. So I'm actually gonna put a little rubbing alcohol on there just to kind of make sure it's adhering to the other layer. Okay, and then I'm going to set this, I'm going to wipe this down, and then I'm going to set it aside and get ready to create the other layer. First I want to go ahead and try to get this extra mica off the side. So I'm just using a little bit of rubbing alcohol and a paper towel and just getting that pink mica off the side. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and set this aside, and then we're going to create the top half. So here's the other soap that's been sitting, and we're just going to go ahead and add in the rest of the titanium dioxide and the rest of the fragrance oil directly to the soap. Give that a hand stir. And then I'm going to blend it. Then I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of those pink pieces in. Give it a good stir by hand. So those are going to be a bit more spread out, I think, than I wanted, but that's okay. You'll get the idea. Okay. Bringing this mold back, and then I'm just going to slowly pour all of this soap on top. Okay. We're going to give this soap a few minutes to set up before I add in my little rose quartz rocks. So I'll bring you right back when we're ready for the next part. All right, we're ready to go ahead and add in the embeds now. So I'm just gonna layer these across the whole top. So some are gonna be standing up, some are gonna be going flat. It's just gonna be random how I place them in. But I do wanna make sure this is covering the top of the soap. There, I think that's all I'm gonna do. Just wanted a little bit of shimmer there. All right, everybody, that is the making of the new and improved rose quartz cold process soap. Stay tuned for the cutting. All right, everybody, we're back to go ahead and cut this rose quartz soap. And this is what it looks like out of the mold. Can't not wait to see what that inside looks like. So I'm using a single bar slicer today that is made for melt and pour and cold process soap. The reason I'm doing this is because I don't want the melt and pour soap embeds to damage the cold process soap as they get cut, and I want them to stay in place. So let's see what that looks like. Ooh, it's interesting. Look at that one, that's really pretty. You can see that mica line. right, I'll go ahead and cut one more. All right, everybody, thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share with your friends. Catch you on the next video.